Hey everyone, welcome to Tangle 3. So far, we've done everything here that's in green, and now we need to install and set up Jira and Confluence, which is what I'm going to do in this video. So you'll see that I'm using an older account. This is an older video, which I didn't want to re-record. You'll see me use FalcoZerk, which is my DBA, doing business as account. I later change it to Big Fractal Tangle. I'll start by Googling Jira and then do the first thing here. And click create an account. My DBA account. And verify. All right, so now that we've created this Atlassian account, you can see it says try Jira, try Confluence. I'm just going to go ahead and start with Jira. And there's a bunch of marketing text. I'll click Get It Free. And it allows me to put in a site identifier for .atlassian.net. So I'll put in FalcoZerk and agree. Tell us a bit about yourself. I'm skipping the question. What is your role? Skip the question. And this, skip the question. All right, so now it's creating a Jira Cloud account. Now, Jira is what's called an issue tracking system. It's basically it's a glorified to-do list application, but it's much more geared towards software development. It has surprising depth. If you used other to-do apps like Todoist or Trello or Monday, I think that you're going to be a little bit surprised at how much stuff is here. And it's particularly good for Scrum teams. So now the first thing it's asking is what template do you want to use for your first project, and we're going to do Scrum. Kanban is for smaller teams that are not organizing themselves into sprints. And then there's other stuff that is unrelated to what we're doing. So I'm going to click Next. And there we have it. It says My Scrum Project and what needs to be done and Scrum Sprint 1. So right off the bat, it just creates basics of what you need to do. First thing, we're going to go into my account and change my logo. And this is really just going to show up in various places, including this upper right-hand corner. But also, if I make any tickets and stuff like that, it'll go there. Let's go back to the project. Project settings are separate from global settings, which you get in this gear up here. So this is if you have more than one products or projects within your Jira. This is just for my Scrum project. So let's click on project settings, and we can change this to, let's call it Big Fractal Tangle. And the key is going to be, now key is really important to pick. This is going to be at the beginning of every issue that you talk about as a team. So usually keep it short. Pronounceable isn't so bad, but it's going to be this text dash and then 321. And that's going to be how you identify all of the things that you got to do. So be sure to put some thought into this because you're going to have to live with it for a while. For Big Fractal Tangle, I'm going to go with, I usually like it to be 2 or 3 letters. So it just helps with all of the lists and everything. So I'm just going to put tan. I'm going to invite myself. Okay, and we're going to make them administrator, add one person. You can also change the icon. This is usually, this would be like the company icon or your own personal avatar, like a face shot, whereas this would be related to the product or project itself. So for now, I'm not going to think too much about a logo. I'll just grab something from Wikimedia. This looks pretty good. All right, so download this, change icon. I can upload the photo that I just did. And what's cool about this is I could just use this to scroll into anywhere here. This looks pretty cool. Let's go all the way and hit select. All right. I don't know how that's going to look, but life is floating. Save. Next thing we want to do is we don't want to say Scrum Sprint 1. This is, I'm not sure why they do it this way, but I'm going to rename by editing the sprint, and we'll just call it Sprint 1. Let's set a start date so when we're going to actually start the sprint. So picking the sprint date is actually pretty important because you want to set up a good cadence for your team. A lot of companies use the start of sprints somewhere in the middle of the week, and that's just so that everybody isn't scrambling on Friday to get things done. Also, holidays tend to fall on Mondays and Fridays. So just to follow suit, I'm going to do a Wednesday start of sprint, and we'll do it every 2 weeks. So it'll automatically put in. Now, sprint goal is a good thing to put in, but right now we don't know what that is. We can always go back. So now you can see it says Sprint 1. The reason why it's important to rename this is that when you create the next sprint, it's going to say the same format. So Sprint 2. All right. Now we have our Jira project. So I'll create a couple of initial epics and stories just to populate this. An epic is kind of like a super story. A story is a very specific kind of to-do task or issue. So you can either click create up here or click create issue down here. Try not to add issues directly to your sprint. That's a bad practice because you want to do formal sprint planning when you're estimating the amount of work and getting buy-in from the team before a sprint starts. I'm going to hit create, and it's saying issue type, status, and so forth. So let's make an epic here. Call it blogging. And I'll put a description here. I'm going to hit create. And now because it's an epic, you'll notice that it didn't put it in here in what's called the backlog. You can see the epics up here in the timeline. So this is a different view that you can see that I have Sprint 1 here. What's kind of nice is that you can now add the stories directly underneath. If I now go back to backlog, you can see these stories are now showing up down here in the backlog. Basically, the backlog is a big list of things that you kind of want to do at some point. When you're ready to start saying, all right, I want to put these into the sprint, you can drag these just up here and you can see that it just adds it. So now there's all sorts of best practices for when to put things into a sprint, and we'll talk about those in the future. But for right now, I just wanted to show you how this works. Now, when you have put all of the tasks that you want to get done in this 2-week period, you can click Start Sprint, and then you get going. But for now, I'm going to put these back. And you notice how I can kind of move these around. So this is a very cheap way of prioritizing. There's much better ways to do it. Now I'm going to create a Confluence page as well. So to do that, I'm going to go in here, which is switch to, and I'm going to click Confluence. Get started. I'm on the free plan. Hang on, our robots are working on it. Confluence is a wiki. It's a lot more than what you'd expect from Wikipedia. There's a lot more functionality, and the integration between Jira and Confluence is quite good. So one way to think about it is Confluence is where you put things that last, and Jira is the place you put things that go away. So you don't want to put your software design in Jira, because once you close that ticket, then it's kind of hard to find. So what you want to do instead is put it in Confluence. Welcome, Falco Zerk. Skip, I don't really need this help. What best describes your work? Skip. Invite your teammates. Okay, so I'll do that again. tfl@gmail. And finish. And what I'm going to do is click on my first space. Let's get rid of all of this quick start stuff. All right, so first off, we're going to just rename this. Again, the same thing. You click space settings, and then you can make the name of the space and so forth. So let's do this. We'll do a name. You have to click edit space details. And big fractal Tangle. We can put that logo in. I'm going to put in the fractal and see what it does. Let's go to the overview. So there's a bunch of cruft in here. So the first thing we're going to do is just get rid of the cruft. So I'm just going to make a blank front page. And I'm going to call this home. And then just delete everything here. So let's put welcome to Big Fractal Tangle. And hit update. Now that I have a space, let's make it the home for my wiki. I'm going to bookmark it and add it to the bookmark bar. And you can see the Confluence logo right there. And then I'm going to do the same thing here for, all right, we'll do the backlog for now. And then you can see Jira and Confluence right here. Okay, that's it.